You spent your whole life trying to be good, not just good enough. Enough for them to like you, enough to be taken seriously, enough to finally exhale. You overthink before you speak, you shrink when you're misunderstood, you play it safe just in case they don't get it. You rehearse your lines before you even know what room you'll be in. You laugh at things that aren't funny. You shrink your joy to fit their silence. And deep down, there's a whisper. If I get this right, maybe I'll finally be okay. But here's the quiet truth you already know. It's never been about being okay. It's been about being approved. And that's a game you'll never win, because the scoreboard keeps changing, and it was never yours to control. So what if? What if you just didn't care anymore? Not in bitterness, not in apathy, but in peace, in presence, in quiet power. This is what happens when you finally stop caring. You don't collapse, you arrive. You care so much about what they think, but have you ever stopped to ask, who are they really? Because you're not caring about them, you're caring about what you think they're thinking about you. That's 2 layers of illusion, a projection of a perception of a self you're not even sure you believe in. It's like playing chess with a ghost, exhausting, unwinnable, and strangely lonely. You rehearse conversations in the shower, you rewrite texts 3 times, you say sorry when you mean thank you, just to smooth the invisible static in the air. You leave parties feeling like you performed instead of connected. You try to read 100 signals that were never even sent. You smile while editing your soul. But here's the part you don't admit. They're probably not thinking about you at all. They're busy caring what you think of them. It's a hall of mirrors and everyone's lost inside. And the more you care, the less you are. Because in trying to be seen, you become a shape, polished, edited, hollow. And the worst part? You start to forget what you were before you became this echo. You mistake your reflection for your identity. You dim your light to become visible. But here's the paradox. The people who seem more magnetic, the ones who light up rooms without trying, they don't need you to like them. They're free. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. True charisma has nothing to do with charm. It's presence without performance. It's being deeply okay with who you are, even if no one claps. Charisma is gravity. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't hustle for orbit. It just is. And that's what makes people lean in. Not because you're trying, but because you're not. So if you're tired of feeling invisible, of shape-shifting to fit their imagined moods, of offering your worth on an altar of approval, stop caring. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you do. You don't need to be louder, you need to be real. Let the silence say what the performance never could. Let your stillness be louder than your explanation. Let the version of you they never met finally walk into the room, and let that be enough. You've been dancing in a house of mirrors, you press your palms to the glass, held your breath for their applause, but the door was never locked. Who would you be if you finally stopped performing? Who would you be if you walked out? The outer world listens to your inner stillness. It always has. You've been told to care about your goals, about your image, about what you'll be 10 years from now. And so you perform success like a ritual. You chase the next thing before the current one lands. You call it ambition, but really, it's fear wearing a power suit. You pedestal the dream, and in doing so, you exile your present. Because when you care too much, you worship the outcome. And what you worship, you push away. Caring can become a kind of violence against your peace, against your pace, against your joy in simply being. Let's be honest, the more you crave success, the more it seems to avoid you. Not because you're not worthy, but because worth can't be proven, only remembered. You don't manifest through obsession, you manifest through alignment, and alignment begins where desperation ends. But what if it's the letting go that clears the way? You've chased a moment before, a launch day, a job title, a perfect performance, and when it came, it tasted like dust. But the unexpected smile, the unplanned offer, the right place at the right time, that came when you weren't reaching. What if the success you want is waiting for the version of you who no longer needs it to feel whole? You care about the past because it's the only thing that stayed, even when everything else changed. You replay it like a film, picking apart the dialogue, looking for signs, wishing the plot had turned out differently. You think you're learning, but mostly you're reliving. And every time you replay the scene, you become the person you were in it. The shame returns, the regret tightens, the story reclaims you. But here's what most never admit. Caring about the past doesn't redeem it, it just repeats it. The wound can't close if you keep opening it to check. Let it close. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. The past can't be healed by reanalysis, it's healed by release. And forgiveness isn't for the timeline, it's for the traveler. You are not the scene, you are the screen. Let the film end. You are not here to replay, you are here to remember who you were before the story began. The past clings like smoke. Until you open the door, sunlight doesn't wait. You don't need closure, you need presence. The past is not a punishment, it's a ghost of who you no longer are. And that ghost will follow you until you stop inviting it in. You don't need to care about who you were, only what you are becoming. You plan, you prepare, you micromanage the universe like it owes you predictability. And when things fall apart, you call it failure. But maybe it's just freedom in disguise. Control is the mask you wear when you're terrified of feeling. It looks responsible, it sounds noble, but underneath, it's just fear in a language that gets applause. You want to know, you want to be certain, you want the comfort of a future you haven't earned yet. But here's the paradox. The tighter you grip, the heavier it becomes. Let go, and there's nothing to carry. The mind spins stories while the body waits in stillness. One knows how to live. Letting go isn't weakness, it's not passivity, it's participation in reality as it actually is. There's a reason the most powerful beings say the least. They're not trying to direct the river, they are the river. Flow doesn't mean chaos, it means trust. And trust doesn't come from certainty, it comes from surrender. The sky doesn't ask who's watching it, it just opens. So stop caring how it unfolds, start listening for where it begins. This is what happens when you finally stop caring. You stop rehearsing your lines, you stop arguing with the past, you stop chasing outcomes like a dog chasing its own tail. You begin to breathe in a way that isn't defensive. You say no and don't explain. You sit in silence and feel full. You walk into a room without checking who's watching. And then something shifts. You're not detached, you're just not tangled. You still love, you still show up, but from a place so quiet it can't be shaken. You stop caring not because you're cold, but because you're clear. And in that clarity, you become unmissable. The world bends to the shape of your inner stillness. This is the paradox. When you no longer need it, it finds you. And when it finds you, you're finally home. Not because you won, not because you were chosen, but because you stopped asking and just listened. You didn't let go of the world, you just let go of needing it to hold you.